Hello, welcome to the At the Races Cheltenham Festival Preview Show. We are live here at the Races headquarters, and we are 12 days away from the biggest show on turf, and I have got the best panel imaginable with me here in the studio, and of course somebody joining us as well via the technology in a few moments' time. Let's introduce the panel. First of all, Kevin Blake has flown over especially to join us here tonight. Very good evening to you, sir. How are you? Yeah,
great to be here, Enzo. Yeah, first time in the studio for quite a while, but sure, look, normality's returning, and
if this is the best, you'd hate to see the worst, wouldn't you? Jeez. I mean, talk about doing a preview night on the cheap. Kevin Blake and me.
Well, you're down the road, aren't you? So we thought we'd get you in.
Cheap as chips.
Well, that's it. Chapman was able to walk here. At least they had to fly me in.
I mean, at least you've made an effort. What have you come as tonight, Enzo?
I was told cash. I was to cash it down a bit.
There's always that Christmas jumper that you haven't worn. Always the Christmas jumper that's been tucked away.
It is his first wearing tonight, so I thought I'd try it out. But
nice bit of red, white and blue, though. Come on, Great Britain. Who are you? Who are you?
Here we go.
It's not going to be 23.5, is it? Again, let's get out of the way now. It's not going to be 23.5 again.
Isn't it? I think it could be easily. I think if we got, as in, I'm basically England, because I don't think Scotland are going to help me much, because I don't fancy a Hoy Seigneur. I don't think Wales are going to help me much, because Christian Williams has just won everything he's going to win. And I don't think Northern Ireland are going to have many winners. So I'm England, basically, on my own. I think if we got 7 or 8, we'd have done pretty well, don't you, Kev?
No, look, I don't think, in all seriousness, I don't think it's going to be like last year. I think last year everything kind of clicked. But at the same time, there's almost an element of a self-fulfilling prophecy about it, because we're hearing in recent weeks, you know, the likes of, you know, big trainers, Paul Nicholls and others, saying that, you know, we might be happy to skip Cheltenham and go to Aintree, you know, rather than take on the Irish. So if that's the attitude, who knows, we might get another proper drubbing. Well, remember that, Matt?
Well, you go through the anti-post list. There aren't many races that you'd say that British horse will win, apart from one, obviously, which we've already won, of course, on the Wednesday. But, yeah, I think it could be. I think if we got 7 or 8, I'd go away. But to be honest with you, Enzo, while we have some fun with it and there's banter, people at home, all they want is winners.
Yes.
I couldn't care less who trains it. I just want to try and find a winner.
That's it, isn't it? I mean, Irish punters will back British trained horses if they fancy them, weren't they? So,
oh, yeah.
Without a doubt. So let's bring in our other guest, because the top man is going to join us as well, the man who produced Le Bake for us, Bob Olinger, as the
Patrick Mullins. Oh, no. Oh, it's Coddy again.
Man who's won the Kim Muir 4 times. He's here. Jamie Codd, very good evening to you, sir. How are you?
Very good, lads. How are you?
Yeah, good form, good spirits. How's things going for you?
Good, yeah. All good. I can't complain. Yeah, things are tipping away nicely, so hopefully we'll get to Cheltenham this year.
Coddy, is there a fire in that fireplace behind you?
No.
Is there something you could light in normal circumstances?
No. That's see, we moved in. We renovated our home place last year, so that's a feature in the living room.
Feature wall. Yeah.
Oh, it's a feature.
It's taste, Matt.
Yeah.
You know, I know it might be unfamiliar.
You forgot to put the fireplace in.
The fireplace over here.
OK. I was just wondering, because it's very close to the sofa and it could have been a fire hazard, but it looks OK.
Sure, look, Jamie, can Matt give you a call afterwards just with the interior design advice? We might need that for the
I like it. I like that kind of thing. I like it. What's the trophy in the middle? Which victory was that?
That was a HRI award, I think. Yeah.
Really?
That was, yeah.
Was that the year Patrick didn't win?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. I think I got a point.
Jamie, great stuff. Great to have you on board. Let's crack on, shall we? Because we have got lots of racing to get through. Champion Hurdle is going to be our first port of call. 7 of the last 11 favourites have won the Champion Hurdle, sponsored by Unibet, and we have a red-hot one this time around, Honeysuckle. She dotted up last year. She's never been beaten. Is it a case? Let's go to Matt, first of all. Is she a good thing?
It's a bad start, Matt. You've got the Supreme Novices up in front of you.
I kind of thought we'd be going through an order. Sorry, lad.
That's why we send out a thing called a running order, Matt, so you know exactly what's coming.
I've never looked at a running order. I'm not looking at one tonight. Dom's in charge tonight, and Dom can barely write, to be fair, let alone put together a running order. OK, so this is quite simple for me.
Yep.
Honeysuckle will probably win, but I don't think she's that good. She's, for me, I'm just being careful I say this because I know I'm going to get a load of abuse straight away.
She's got a big fan club.
But she's the jumps equivalent to Winks, isn't she?
Oh, no.
She keeps on winning, but she's beaten absolute tosh. And therefore, I have to take her on with Appreciate It because I just don't think she's that good.
Yeah, we were trying to work out.
She keeps winning.
Has a horse ever gone to win a champion hurdle on his seasonal debut before?
You're going back decades.
I was trying to think this. I was trying to think to see you then do it. But I thought maybe he did have a run actually at Wincanton before.
But it's possible, and it's possible. I mean, Cyborgo won the Stairs Hurdle first time out for Martin Pipe. It's possible to win these races, and the problem with it's hard to make a case for Appreciate It because his supreme form's not that good. So it's not as if you're saying, well, Honeysuckle's form's not very good and Appreciate It's really good. Because Appreciate It form, not that good, really, when you look through the Supreme. But there's something about him that looked quite magical. I don't know what you thought, Coddy, but when he won the Supreme, he just travelled like a monster through the race.
Yeah, but, I suppose, Matt, there was no second. So, he won that well. You take everything else out. I suppose Blue Lord is going to go in as one of the favourite for the Arkle. Ballyadam is probably disappointed, all right. But, there was no second, so all you can do on any day is win, and that's what he did, and he won very, very impressively. So I've no doubt he's a monster of a horse. But to do what he's going to do this year, step into a champion hurdle with no prep run, that's going to be very tough.
Yeah, because he was going to go chasing, wasn't he? Originally, that was the plan, Kev, wasn't it? First of all, then they kind of scrapped that idea.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about the prep, listening to Willie. Look, we know he's done it before, albeit in non-championship races, the Mayor's Hurdle, etc. But, Willie, we were all down there for his media morning last week, and he seemed like particularly confident about the preparation and how it had gone. He felt he had the horse exactly where he wanted him. So, I don't think it'll be lack of a run that gets him beat. The thing, and like Matt says, we don't know how good he is. We don't know where the ceiling is, but there is a step up needed. I just want to take
her on, Kevin, with something. I mean, no one's backing it at 4-9, are they?
Yeah.
So you're either going to watch it for fun.
Yeah.
Most people will back something else.
Yeah.
And I've got to back. It's worth pointing out Duvan ran against Alti on the Champion Chase first time out. I mean, I know he fell, but he was travelling. He was going like an absolute monster himself when he came down. So trainers can get them fit.
Yeah. What about Tiupu? Let's bring Jamie in. Tiupu, he did everything right, I thought, last time at Gore. He looked pretty good, didn't he? I mean, Robbie Powers was impressed afterwards, but is he good enough, Jamie, to win a champion hurdle?
Yeah, absolutely. Why isn't he? He's coming in like the Esper Allen route. He's coming in under the radar. As Matt said, something has to finish second or else beat Honeysuckle. So for me, this horse has done nothing wrong all year. He's won, he's improved. I thought he was quite good in Gorn. Galloped out a bit through the last, all right, but this horse could improve enough. He's young, he's improving. Yeah, why can't he take her on?
Okay, is he going to be your choice? Is he going to be your pick in the race then?
I want to see the mare win. Yeah. I really do. I think what that mare has done for racing in general with Rachel, I just want to see it. I love a good mare. I just love it. I love to see it. And the longer she stays unbeaten, the better. But something does have to finish second, and I think it will be Tiapu.
Okay. Kevin, how would you play? Are you looking at the other markets, perhaps? There's obviously, without the favourite, there's different ways of playing the race.
Yeah, I think so. Look, I wouldn't be as dismissive and as disrespectful of the Queen of Ireland as Matt was with Honeysuckle. But,
of course you wouldn't, because you're a homey boy, aren't you? And you can't face not being loved. That's always been your problem. You have to say the right things for your people, because that's you.
Well, look, I wasn't blown away with her last time, but look, she's the best mare. She's the best horse. She gets £7. She's going to be extremely hard to beat. But at Tuzan, she's not going to get anyone excited. And I'd actually be with Jamie. I'd be with Tiapu.
Yep.
You get the impression with Gordon that this horse doesn't show anything at home really, and they've been bringing him along in baby steps. But what he did last time, he beat a horse of Joseph's called Durasso, who's a low 150s horse every day of the week, and he kicked him out of the way. In great style. He looks like a horse that'll be better on a sounder surface. He's a 5-year-old. He seems to be improving. So of the rest, it'd be him, and play it how you like, be it each way, without the favourite market. There'd be lots of options there, but he'd be the one I'd be favouring in front of Honeysuckle.
Matt, and so we've got to move on to another big race. But very quickly, we've got to just quickly mention Tommy's Oscar, who has been an absolutely sensation. I mean, I've said I don't think there'll be a Scottish winner, but Anne Hamilton has Tommy's Oscar in tremendous form. But I think this will be a step too far. But we have to mention him because he's been brilliant all season.
Great story, isn't it?
Yeah, sure, look, and speaking of specials markets, if Matt can get a price about Tommy's Oscar in the Without Ireland market, I'm sure he'd be a fairly good bet, yeah?
OK, let's move on. Let's move on.
You alienate Ireland and now you alienate Scotland. OK.
Should we talk Champion Chase?
Yes,
now,
please.
The best trial for the Champion Chase has been the previous season's Arkle, isn't it? With, I think, 10 winners have landed the Arkle Chase 12 months earlier. The likes of Remittance Man, we go back to Clare-on-Davis, Moscow Flyer did it, Azertiop, Voipa Estedes. So Shishkin, of course, won the Arkle last year. Let's go to Matt first of all. I know you're chairman of the Shishkin fan club over there. You've got the scarf.
This is a race. This is the kind of great race when you need to do a preview quickly. Shishkin here.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. There he is. Come on, Dom. Camera 2. Well done. God, this is when you do these kind of things on the cheap. Anyway. Shall we see him beating Energumene?
Yeah, this was the big clash, wasn't it?
This was the great hope of Ireland. Here he was, swinging away and then smashed up by the great British hope. Look at him. Tony Bloom was thinking he could go and collect about now. And then reality kicked in.
I just think if ever Energumene was going to beat him, Kevin, it was this day.
I took that view going into it. And, he made a really good go of it. But, look, Shishkin ultimately won, despite things going wrong for him.
Mistake as well down the back.
Yeah, and he was jumping that bit left the whole way as well. And, Cheltenham, you'd assume, would suit Shishkin better. But, look, there's only a length in it.
Yeah.
People forget, slightly shorter trip in the Champion Chase.
Track.
I'd say a sharper track.
Oh, you got that big hill up the back.
Yeah, I don't know. Look, Shishkin, likeliest winner, clearly, but I'm going to take him on, just on the basis of a price.
It's another loser for you, then?
It's a horse race. He's got a length to make up, and, Willie's not just one-handed here. He's got Chacun Pour Soi as well.
He has.
Who one could argue, Enzo, has better form in the book than...
But why didn't he win it last year? Last year's race wasn't as good as this. Why didn't he win it?
They weren't happy about the way they rode him, with hindsight. They feel it should have been more forward. He should have won. He should have won and he didn't. And people will throw stones at him for it. They'll throw stones at him for Tingle Creek. But, mitigation, he had a physical problem. But in terms of, the challenge to Shishkin, those are two proper horses in against them. And I think they'll construct the run of the race to suit them up the front end. Yeah. And with Shishkin, I just feel there is a possibility of a mistake. And if it comes at the wrong time, it just could get very tight.
I know you've said that about he might have better form. And look, trust me, I've defended Chacun Pour Soi more than anyone in the world. I love the horse. But I don't know if his rating is justified, really. I really don't, because Shishkin's won a Supreme and an Arkle, and now he's going to win a Champion Chase. I mean, Chacun's won some good races, but he's never won a... Coddy, if you're Paul Townend, do you ride Energumene or Chacun Pour Soi?
Energumene all day long. Oh. He's the horse coming forward. He hasn't been to Cheltenham before. Maybe he'll be better. We don't know that. But Chacun Pour Soi has been there. He's a 10-year-old. He's been beat. He ran in Sandown, ran terrible. He hasn't performed in the UK. So I would not be going with Chacun Pour Soi. I think he'll be well exposed in this race. I think it's about the young guns coming through. This is the battle we want to see. We saw it in Ascot. When you have the likes of Moscow Flyer, Welsh Chief, Direct Route, Edgerton Blue coming through, this is the battle that you want over 2 mile. It's going to be a fantastic race.
Okay, Jamie, how would you ride Energumene to beat Shishkin? Is Energumene's best chance of winning it to try and turn it into almost a 2-furlong race? Is it his best chance of beating for speed?
I think Paul will keep it very simple again. I think he'll pop out and let him do his thing, let him jump and travel. He's only beaten a length, that's all. I think Shishkin is the better horse. I do think he'll win. Kevin says he could make a mistake. I actually think he's a very clean jumper. Maybe he might miss one and miss half a length, but I don't think he's going to do anything too extravagant. But I do believe that when he turns in and sees the hill, he's been there before, Shishkin, and I think he'll power up it. Yeah, I really like him. it's only better he's getting, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think Energum's probably going to have to be at least 2 lengths ahead of him, isn't he, at the last, to have any chance of beating him?
I agree.
Because you know he's just going to kick in that turbo, Shishkin.
I mean, I've read people saying the Champion Chase isn't a 2-horse race or a 3-horse race, you know, an outsider. I mean, they are right. It's not a 3-horse race, it's a 1-horse race.
Well, we can all agree it's a fabulous race.
It is.
It could be the race of the week for me.
For me, absolutely. And so it should always be. I remember Martin Pipe, and I know people, their immediate response to this is, well, he would say that because he never won the Gold Cup. But he always said to me that the real class was the Champion Chasers, and I think most people would agree with that. This is pure class. This is like the Group 1 race on the flat. This is pure class. And Shishkin is pure class. And you, Sonny Jim, will be a little Irish person crying at the end of the race. Defeat. That's what you'll be looking at. Defeat.
All right, we'll see if Kevin's crying in the corner or laughing after the Champion Chase in 13 days' time. Let's look at the Ryanair Chase. Now, is this simple that Allaho is just the best horse in the race? Kevin, is he a brilliant horse, Allaho, or is he just taking on moderate opposition? What do you think?
I think he's a very good horse. He's not a brilliant horse, but this is his trip. This is his race.
Good Cheltenham record, isn't he, as well?
Yeah, and he was arguably the performance of the week last year. Like, he was electric in this. And I don't know, like, I know he's won his couple of starts this season. I don't know if it's gone picture perfect in Willie's mind. I think he had a harder race than Willie would have liked in the John Durkin, but he was very good at Thurles last time, and he's just a good thing. You know, if you, and funny enough, we talked about it back in October, Matt. One horse, one winner. In my mind at the time, it was Allaho, and it still is.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to beat.
Pick one all week, 2 win, just win. Forget about price. You know, he's the one. I find it really difficult to see him beat.
He's always been good, though. You know, third in the Albert Bartlett, third behind Champ.
Would not quite staying, probably.
In the RSA.
Yeah.
And then he's hacked up in this race. He's got form with Chacun Poursoir. He's got loads of form with Manila Indo. He's not ran bad behind a Plutard over 3 miles. You know, all his form stacks up that he's just a really good horse.
Yeah, I mean, who's going to be second favourite? Shamblu, possibly? I mean, Fakir Dudery, he always beats Fakir Dudery, doesn't he, by 12 lengths every time he's racing against him. So
absolutely.
Jamie, do you agree? Do you think he's almost a good thing, Allaho?
Yeah, like what turns up in this race, that's the biggest thing. Like, I'd say St. Calvados is probably his biggest danger by the looks of it, and he's 20-1 there. Like, you know, he's third at Kempton in the King George, and he's probably, if Paul's horses come back to any bit of form at all, maybe he's one there that will chase him home. But on all known form, what he's done last year, he was electric, and I can't see him not being this year either in what he's done so far.
Kevin, Tornado Flower, I'd run him in this rather than the Gold Cup. I know he's stayed on in the King George, but the King George was a very weird race. He was third in this behind Allaho. I just thought if he ran in this, he was the each way against Allaho.
I don't think they'll do it. Listening to Willie last week, Willie has a thought in his head that he could be better over the Gold Cup trip, which is interesting. I don't think a lot of people would necessarily be on the same wavelength, but, you know, Willie would probably know better than most. Conflated, I suppose, would be an interesting switcher if he switched back to this. Michael O'Leary wants to run him here. Gordon wants to run the Gold Cup. Yeah. So we'll see who wins that argument. Gordon says Michael normally wins. He'd be the main danger to him.
Well, I don't want to take on Galopin.
Ronnie Bartlett. I'd love to see him win a Gold Cup.
Yeah.
OK, so that's the Ryanair Chase. We think that Allaho is going to take all the beating. He's probably going to go off about 2s on, isn't he? When you look at who's going to turn up against him, maybe even shorter, possibly. Allaho. Right, let's move on, shall we, to a race that looks really difficult, the Stayers Hurdle. Now, we've got last year's winner, Flooring Porter, back from, well, he's not won a race, though, this season. We've got Time Hill in the race. We've got Champ Paisley Park trying to regain his crown. I think Ingles Drever and Crimson Embers did that, managed to regain the crown. But let's start with Flooring Porter. Jamie, do you think he's a worthy favourite to win it again?
Yeah, I really do. I thought he ran a hell of a race at Leopardstown at Christmas. I thought, like, look, it happened, but it probably shouldn't have happened. But, like, when you look back at the start, you know, like, his race was almost over there. Classical Dream got 10 lengths out the gate. There's no point in saying differ. Flooring Porter had to make it up. He kept them honest all the way to the line. Tried hard, but he just could not make up what happened at the start. I think he's young. He's still improving. He's young enough. He's still improving. The form in England, they're all it's muddling form. They're all running against each other, and some days Champ is winning, other days Paisley Park is winning, but like it just goes to show you, like Paisley Park whips around at the start, loses 15 lengths, and he still is able to get back up and beat them. Like that just doesn't make up. That doesn't add up in my book. So that's why I think Flooring Porter is probably a very, very safe bet.
Okay, let's bring Kevin in. Flooring Porter, classical dream. I mean, good winner, then disappointed last time.
Yeah, I struggle with this race a bit, Enzo, to be honest. Like Jamie says, it's a bit all over the shop. And, you know, Classical Dream was very good, beating Flooring Porter at Christmas. Willie feels he made a mistake running him back as quick as he did. He was, you know, really poor that day, really. Like Time Hill, I do like him the more I look at him. You know, he was building up. He was going to have a great chance in the race, only to be ruled out through injury quite late. You know, he's been beaten twice this season, but I liked his run behind Champ. You know, it was a messy race. I thought it was a good run. I think Cheltenham will suit him better. So, look, tentative vote. Really tricky race. Yeah, massive chances for Tom O'Brien to have a Cheltenham winner. I think he's the other one for a long time, isn't he? But, Matt, what do you think? Time Hill, Champ, Paisley Park, have we got a good chance of keeping the stayers at home this year?
I'm stronger on Time Hill than Kevin. I think he's got a right chance. He's run at Cheltenham 4 times. His form there is 2-3-1-4. But the third and the fourth came in the bumper behind Envoy Allen, and the fourth was behind Monkfish and the Albert Bartlett, and he should have won that Albert Bartlett. The more you watch that, he was really unlucky, Time Hill. Johnson will be watching this. Richard, if you're watching this right now, and you know you are, because you're watching it, so you know you're watching it, you know you messed up. It was bad. Probably why you retired, to be quite frank. It was nothing like Ansem. He should have won. And look, forget about the Otoy run. I don't really care about that run 2 runs ago. The Champ run was a comeback, and he's been deliberately kept for this. I think he's basically been laid out for this. And I think he's got a right old chance. Flooring Porter's clearly got the ability to win again, but you never quite know with him whether he's going to deliver all his ability in a race, do you? If he does, he's a massive player. But there's a chance that he could be a character.
Mr. Champ is the same.
You know? Like he was good at Ascot, wasn't he? And then got beaten by Paisley Park last time.
He was hopeless last time.
You know, last time.
Should have won, shouldn't he?
Well, he was like this down. He was like this, like Coddy, like this on the snap down the hill, and he found Zilch.
Yeah, tricky race.
OK, tricky race. What, the Gold Cup, is that trickier, or have we got a stronger view on it? Shall we have a look at the betting? Dominated by the Irish-trained horses. We've only really got Protectorat in single figures at the moment. Let's bring Jamie in first of all. A Plus Tard, the favourite here. Galvin at 4-1. Jamie, who's your idea at this stage of the Gold Cup winner?
I think Minilendo is going to win another Gold Cup. When you look down through it, like A Plus Tard, I can't see why A Plus Tard is going to turn the tables on him. He was very impressive in Navan or in Haydock, but like he got beat at Christmas, and I just thought that Manila Endo ran a very solid race for him. He always seems to turn up in Cheltenham. You know, he won an Albert Bartlett. He was second in an RSA, and then he's won a Gold Cup. I think he's coming to the fore now again in the spring. I think Henry's horses are really starting to run well. He had a double there, a graded double in Naas there last Sunday, and I think he's priming his horses for the festivals, for the spring festivals, and I think Minilendo is the one to beat. You're looking at Galvin maybe coming through. I thought he got a brilliant ride. Like when you're looking at the Galvin A Plus Tard race at Christmas, I thought it was very interesting that Rachel decided to come up on after the second last and kind of block Davy off, and in turn that has turned out in Davy's favour, and he's got back up on the line. I'd say Rachel was kicking herself that she'd done it. If she had waited a bit longer and not committed, I'd say she might have won. But it's a catch-22. If you block Davy off and you win, you're a hero. But it turned out that it was the wrong thing to do. So I don't know. I think Galvin has to improve again. I'd love to see it for Connections because he's a brilliant little horse. He came from very humble beginnings, going around Perth and all these places, and to see him ending up in a Gold Cup, if he could win a Gold Cup, I don't think you'd see Ronnie Bartlett for a month. You know, he's a fantastic owner, and for that I'd love to see him. But I do think that Minilendo is the one to beat.
Okay, defending champ then for Jamie. Let's go to Matt. Gold Cup, bit of a puzzle again.
Well, the first thing is that this is a Gold Cup that's going to be run differently for a lot of Gold Cups because we've got no Native River in there anymore. And every year you could rely in the last 3 or 4 years on Native River setting the pace. Last year, remember, Native River and Frodon went at it.
Yeah.
We've had that before. Might Bite and Native River, they went at it. No, if you said to someone now, put your life on who will be the front runner in this year's Gold Cup, there would be a lot of people, I'm afraid, who would be not with us anymore because it's very hard to predict the front runner. It might be Protectorat because they might just think, take a chance on what he did after he did at Aintree, but he didn't make all at Aintree. Looking through it, might be Chantry House. He didn't impress last time, but he stays strongly.
Yeah.
But there's no front runner in there. That might help a Plutard, who without doubt is the class horse, but I just don't think he stays. He's just not a strong stayer. Coming down to it, I think Galvin, I like stamina over class in a Gold Cup. And for me, Galvin and Album Photo bring the stamina into the race. I'll be backing Galvin to win, and I'll back the former champion each way because I think he'll be bang there once again, Album Photo. But the Mullins reports, Kevin, haven't been very good for Photo. That gives me even more confidence.
OK, Kevin, what's your take on the race?
I'd actually agree with Matt in terms of the run of the race. Like, you'd be very... I know...
Do you think Santini might go off in front? Nick Scalfi might just pop him off in front?
They need linkers, I'd say, to get him in front. And that's not being disrespectful, but that's him, you know.
I've got a Santini scarf at home. There's a reason why I haven't got it on.
And I love a bit of Santini, but yeah, I couldn't see him making the running in it. But you just fear it could be a steadily run Gold Cup. And I love Galvin, I love Manila Indo, but you'd really want pace in front of them, ideally. And like again, I've struggled with this a little bit, but the more I look at it, and I think I'm going mad even saying that, but the more I look at Conflated, you know, if Gordon can get his way and run him here...
Not running, Kevin.
The market's
Why are you tipping up a non-runner to our
market
viewers?
has been really disrespectful of what he did last time.
It's not running.
If you look back at the Irish Gold Cup, like he was dominant.
You might as well tip Shishkin in this.
Gordon might get his way.
What about the King George win? We don't think Tornado Fly's got any chance?
Willie seems like very confident that he'll be a better horse for the Gold Cup test than he was in the King George, which is, you know, it surprised me, but he seems quite adamant on that front. But Conflated, like if any other horse in this market did what Conflated did last time, they'd be up right at the front end of the market. He's still a double figure price just because it was so surprising. But, you know, Gordon made an interesting case. He feels the horse, he's seen a change in the horse this season. He used to be very hot at home and, you know, difficult. And he feels that there might have been something just underlying with him there for years that wasn't helping him. They feel they've ironed it out. And he's gone and beaten the reigning Gold Cup winner by 6 lengths or whatever last time.
Just give him a prod, wake him up.
It's quite a short preview night. We spent 5 minutes talking about a horse that's not running in the race.
We'll draw a line of the Conflated, shall we? But Kevin thinks he's got...
Time will tell.
If he lines up, he's got a chance, he thinks. Right, your chance to win a pair of tickets. I know these have been like gold dust trying to get tickets for the Cheltenham Festival this year, but here's a chance to win 2 for Tuesday. This is our giveaway on this At the Races Cheltenham Festival preview in association with Betfred. And here's your chance to win 2 tickets for the Tuesday. Basically,
how do you do it, Enzo?
We're giving away a £20 free bet as well later on, don't forget. But to win the tickets, what you've got to do is you have to comment win wherever you're watching, whether you're watching on Facebook, on the At the Races website, or on YouTube. Comment win, and you've got a chance then. Just write win in the comments, and you'll be picked.
So comment win?
Yeah, okay. Win in the comments.
Thanks, Enzo. Think that's clear?
Supreme Novices Hurdle. Is this clear or not? I don't know. Let's find out.
That's problem with Hunty.
Right, now, this looked like a really interesting race. All of a sudden, Sir Gerhard has been thrown into the mix for this race. We thought he was going for the 2.5 mile race on the Wednesday. Now we're not too sure. Let's bring Jamie in first of all, shall we? Do you think Willie Mullins is going to run Sir Gerhard in this race, Jamie?
Look, I suppose knowing the horse, I would say he's all speed. I know a lot of other people are saying his jumping mightn't hold up to this, but he is all speed. He's a very fast horse. He works extremely. I don't think he'd stay. I honestly don't think he'd stay the 2.5 around Cheltenham. You know, he's never. he's never dropped in and actually rode a race on him. Even in his bumpers, you rode him very handy, and then he had the cruising speed, and he used to pick up lovely. Made the running in the champion bumper, made the running in his 3 mile point to point, but he was just better than all the rest of them that day. So, it didn't really matter. So I would be running Sir Gerhard in this race. I think it's the race for him. I think he's. I just don't think he'll stay in the other race.
So when you rode him those 2 bumpers, was it Navan and Dan Royal? He gave you the impression that he was a speed horse rather than the stayer.
Yeah, the day in Down Royal was the day when you just went, wow. I just thought from the road crossing in Down Royal, gave him a little click in the belly, and just boom, it was instant, and all the way up along the straight, out through the line, it was just pure acceleration. He's a ball of muscle. Like if you look at the horse, he's an arse end on him, like Beyonce. Like he's just strong. Like, do you know what I mean? And but his pedigree is quite flat orientated, so that's where that comes from. So yeah, like I find it hard for Willie not to run him in this.
I know you're a big Mighty Potter fan as well, aren't you? I mean, this race, going through it, there's 5 or 6 in here that could turn out to be superstars. It's such a hot race.
Oh, this is a class race. When you look down through it, there's so much depth in it. So many fancied horses. There's going to be a bubble burst. There could be 2 or 3 bubbles burst, to be honest. You have to respect what Nicky Henderson says about Constitution Hill. I think when he won a point to point for Warren Ewing, he was second in a point to point for Warren Ewing. And I think when he went over to Nicky's, he didn't like the world he didn't set the world on fire early doors, but when they got him on grass, he seemingly just came alive, and like he's been I don't think he's beat anything, but it's just in the manner he's done it, and like you have to respect Nicky in a Supreme Novices. When he has them there, he usually turns them up.
Do you rate him higher than John Bond then?
I don't know. I'd actually step John Bon up in trip, would you believe? I think he's the one that should be going for the other race. He's the other. Yeah, I think he's the horse that probably should go for the Ballymore. But that's Nicky Henderson's decision. But it's a really good race. I have a lot of time for Mighty Potter. He's only a 5-year-old. I don't think he's anything flash. But if he's there at the second last, still in contention, I do think he'd stay. I think his biggest attribute is that he stays. He probably is more of a 2.5 miler, but hopefully if the Supreme is run at a fast pace, it'll turn into a bit of a slog, and this horse will be thereabouts. I really, really like this horse at a bit of a price in it. I think he's sneaking in a little bit. They're all talking about the main fancies, Sir Gerhard, Constitution Hill, and I just think this lad could be at a price. This will give them all a run for their money.
Wow, Mighty Potter given a big word there by Jamie Codd. Now look at the ratings for this. I think 6 of the past 9 winners have an official rating 153 or higher. The top rated are Desert Dynamo and Sir Gerhard, who aren't both definitely going to run the race yet. I mean, first of all, what do you think the Sir Gerhard puzzle, that really sort of threw something to the mix, didn't it, this week?
I'd be with Jamie. Like, I always had him as a 2-miler. I always had him as a
Does he jump well enough to win a race like this?
I didn't think his jumping was as bad as people thought last time. When you really look back at it closely, I didn't think it was that bad. I don't think he wants to make the running. Like Jamie said, he's been doing it, but I don't think it's really ideal for him. He was looking around him the whole way last time, and I think Willie has concluded the same, and they're going to ride him a little bit back. Wherever he goes. But for me, the speed of race, I'd run him in. If he was mine, if I had to go at the front end of the market, he'd be the one. But I'm with Jamie again. I've loved this Mighty Potter the whole way through. He shouldn't have been beaten in the Royal Bond. It was a really messy race. Ran very well. And in the Future Champions last time, things went wrong. Like he got crossed after the first and stumbled quite badly. He got shuffled out of his position. And I only thought he was doing enough when he got to the front. And I'd like to think I have a decent read of Gordon. And I from the very start of the season, before he ever ran over hurdles, I just got the impression that he properly loves this horse.
Yeah.
Like he's got a really high opinion of him. And while many would have considered that he might be a Ballymore horse, watching him, Gordon has never really budged on the Supreme for him. And I think that says a lot in itself. And just look, this is a brilliant Supreme, as good as we've had for a good few years. I don't really want to be taking a short price about anything in it, and Mighty Potter is still a double figure price, so he's the one for me. OK,
Mighty Potter getting a couple of votes already. Matt, I think I know where you're going in this one.
Yeah, I mean, look, Kevin's absolutely right, though. What a great start, and mainly because as we've already said, the British-Irish thing is kind of a bit of fun because it doesn't help you actually find winners. But to start the meeting with that in the background, because there's that feeling, and then have two big British hopes and two massive Irish hopes in Sir Gerhard and Dice at Dynamo. And remember, you have the real sort of genius of Ireland, the champion, Willie Mullins, with two of those. And then you've got Henderson, obviously a former champion, with the two over here. So you've got like two superpowers coming together.
Yeah.
So it's not just Britain and Ireland, it's those two superpowers. I think it's great. Nico de Boinville against Townend, etc., etc. We'll have to see who rides Dice at Dynamo. I'm presuming that Townend will ride Sir Gerhard. I think it's great, but I've just been blown away by Constitution.
Yeah.
I think his form is a bit more solid than Coddy has given him credit for. And lines through John Bon, I think they're very spurious, but they do suggest he's better than John Bon. John Bon looked a bit iffy at Haydock last time. He just looks really good. And I'd love to see someone like Michael Buckley, who chucks a lot of money at the game.
Yeah.
He's had some success. He's had some bad times. He's the kind of character that makes this kind of meeting. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping he'll win.
Constitution Hill for Matt,
that's
go
the
on.
depth of it, Enzo. Like, we haven't really spoken about Dice at
Dynamo, I mean-
John Bon, Kilcrot.
Yeah.
You know, there's depth, like real proper depth in this.
Well, Kilcroat should have beaten Sir Gerhard in the bumper.
Yes.
I was pleased he didn't on the day, but I felt I was lucky to win it with Sir Gerhard.
And he got his revenge later.
There's been talk, Jamie, of Dice at Dynamo perhaps switching to the longer race. Do you think that's possible or unlikely?
I think this is a hell of a horse, but I'm not sure. I rode behind this lad in a Punches and Bumper last year, and to call him free was an understatement. He was absolutely out of control, and only for Patrick, is as strong as he is, he done a marvellous job containing him. This is a free-going horse. I don't think he'd handle the start and all that, the crowd, the roar. Like Cheltenham on Tuesday at the start, it's going to be on fire. There's the crowd back. You know, I think it's going to be huge, and I think this horse could blow his lid.
Okay, so Dice at Dynamo, concerns about the prelims there. We've got to move on because we've got another race to have a look at on Wednesday. The 1:30 is the 2 mile 5 furlong Ballymore Novices Hurdle Grade 1 again. Now, obviously, we don't know if Sir Gerhard's going to run here. We don't know if Dice at Dynamo is going to run here. But concerns there, Kevin, from what Jamie said about Dice at Dynamo in terms of staying?
Yeah, I'd be the same. He looks a 2 miler to me. You know, he's as free as the wind. You know, it's not stopping him, but if you stepped him up and trip, you'd just be worried he'd have his race run after half a mile. But look, one I think is really solid here. I get the impression Gordon's pretty much decided that he's going to run is Ginto.
Ginto, yeah.
I've liked him, you know, really liked him since he's gone hurdling. I really liked him in Nace last time. I know he wouldn't have blown everyone away the way he did it, but he had to make his own running. You know, for me, he was looking around him the whole way. He was bone idle all the way down the straight. He was never ever getting beat, and I felt he won very easily. I know the form has taken a knock or two at the Dublin Racing Festival afterwards, but I think he'll be a better horse with a lead. Stays really well, very straightforward. You know, jumps grand away. Just a lovely, solid, efficient type of horse. And we'll see the best of him when something's good enough to give him a good lead down to the last.
OK, we'll bring Jamie in because he's ridden Ginto several times. You've ridden a good few times, Jamie, haven't you?
Yeah, I was lucky enough to win a point on him. Got beaten a bumper. He just wasn't... you probably saw him like in Nace when he has to make his own running. Early doors, he was hard to... He just wasn't forward enough for a 2 mile bumper. And then the next day then in Navan, he got the test that he wanted, a soft ground and a good test, and he absolutely bolted in a Navan in the bumper. And like, look at what he's done this year has been really, really good. I rode him in Navan. He's a great jumper, and he's very, very straightforward. Yeah, and the thing that impresses me most about this horse is that he's 17 hands. He's a beautiful horse to look at, but every time when he hits the line, it's the best he's going. You know, in Navan with me, he hit the line hard. In Nace and the Lawlers, absolutely hit the line hard again, and that augurs well for Cheltenham getting a lead. And yeah, I think I just hope for Noel and Valerie that this horse wins. Yeah, it'd be brilliant for them.
OK, Ginto then. horse that Jamie knows well. Matt, what do you make of this race? Obviously, the top few in the market we showed you unlikely to run. Would Ginto be favourite? I guess he probably will be. You've got Stage Star in there as well, a horse that we've seen over here do very well this season.
Yeah, I'm not sure about Stage Star myself. Is Manila Kakuna likely to run in this?
Crooner or Cocooner?
Kakuna.
Cocooner is, I think.
Yeah.
Crooner's going to go the longer race.
No, Kakuna.
Kakuna.
I call it Manila Coco because my daughter's Coco, so I go Manila Coco. But I thought that horse would look pretty impressive by Fleming's Firth. Had an old Vit mare, just beautifully bred for jumps racing, and won well at Leopardstown last time. Had previously hacked up at Navan for the Bobbit, who had Mr. Adjudicator.
Yeah,
quite a good horse back in the day.
Yeah.
So I'm going Manila. I've got a strong opinion, I've got to say. I mean.
Yeah, I thought he was good at the Dublin Racing Festival. Now he jumped fabulously well, but I think Danny Mullins maximised him. He kind of got in that the rest of the jockeys just left him alone. He got a very easy sit in front, and he was jumping so well that he was gaining a length, and then Danny was able to take back and get a big breeder into him the whole way. So it was a good performance, but I don't know if it was necessarily as good as it looked.
Yeah. Bit of a puzzle, that race, isn't it? Normally there's a clear favourite, but we don't have that this time around. Should we have a look at the longer distance novices hurdle, the Albert Bartlett novices hurdle, Grade 1, over 3 miles, this one. And this is where Manila Crooner is going to run for Gordon Elliott against Hillcrest, the horse that I really like of Henry Daly's, a big, big horse who didn't jump with any great fluency at Haydock when he won.
Being big, Enzo.
Yeah, he is. He's a big beast, isn't he? I love him, the size and
like
strapping.
a big beast. Yeah.
Hillcrest at 4. I think he's got a good shot. I'm worried about his jumping, Matt. I'm worried, is he going to hit one?
Who?
Hillcrest at a crucial stage.
Yeah. Those big horses are great in small fields when they're dominating and they can just do everything in their own time. The problem with big horses is that when they face pace pressure, one mistake can make a lot more difference than if you're not quite that size, isn't it? I mean, it's obvious. Size does matter.
Like, I think by all accounts he's freakishly big. Like, he's 18 hands.
Yeah.
Like, he's monstrous.
He's bigger than Weaver. That's how big he is.
Should we talk about the probable fate, the Manila Crooner? Jamie, you've ridden Manila Crooner, haven't you? You won Punchestown, I think, on him?
Yeah, I won 2 bumpers. Started off in humble enough beginnings as well. We sent him up to Sligo for a bumper, and he duly won. But he's not a flash horse, this lad. Like, there's not much of him. You know, he's 16 hands, just a little bit with it. Not very imposing, but by golly, has a big heart. I love the way he galloped out through the line the last day. He was the one that was staying going to Manila Cocooner, Coco. So look, it wouldn't surprise me if he did win. Like, you know, the Albert Bartlett over the years, this is what you need for it. You need that tough, hardy horse, doesn't look flash, and he kind of fits the bill, doesn't he?
Okay.
Yeah, I like him as well, Enzo.
Yeah.
I like that run of the Dublin Racing Festival. I fancied him for it. I think he was going to run a big, big race, and he just made a mistake at the second last, which is kind of a real vital juncture at Leopardstown, and it cost him 2 lengths. And, you know, he finished off well thereafter. He didn't jump quite as well that day as he did it when he won his maiden hurdle, I felt. But I think it's in him, and the test that the Albert Bartlett is, I think, will suit him well. So he was the one I was favourite.
OK. That's Kevin's thoughts on that race. Now, this is free bet giveaway, part 1. We're giving away a £20 free bet, courtesy of tonight's sponsors at Betfred, who have kindly sponsored our At the Races Cheltenham Festival preview for 2022. Simply comment your strongest fancy of the meeting, plus the word win this time, wherever you're watching for your chance. Whether you're watching on attheraces.com, watch on YouTube or on Facebook, just comment your strongest fancy of the meeting, then the word win, and you've got a chance of winning a £20 free bet, courtesy of tonight's sponsors, Betfred. That can't be bad. So that's the first free bet giveaway. Talking about our sponsors at Betfred, there's some price boosts. We know that Betfred like to do the odd boost now and again. There are a few price boosts available now with Betfred. Here we go. Matt might be interested in the top one there. Constitution Hill for the Supreme. They've pushed it out to 11-4 from 9-4.
All Matt had to do was tip it. And out they said, push, lads, push. Keep pushing.
Edward Stone for Alan King in the Arkle, pushed out a quarter of a point.
If you think Dom is capable of typing this caption up
He's done well,
while I'm speaking, you are very much overestimating our producer tonight.
American Mike, a horse we'll get to later on. 3-1 now for the bumper. Allaho, who we think's pretty solid, 4-5. That was attractive for you, Kevin.
Up and down the lines, lads.
Yeah.
Yeah, tipped up by you, Kevin. Hello.
A Plutard for the Gold Cup, 7-2. They are the price boost with our sponsors, Betfred. Visit betfred.com for full details of those.
But joking apart,
responsibly,
because it doesn't matter, obviously, Betfred supporting the show or whatever, but just in general terms, all those boosts are the beauty of Cheltenham for punters. Yeah. I know it's a cliche, you say it every year, but punters have never had it so good. It's not just Betfred that will be, everyone will be boosting everything.
Yeah.
So when we say things like honeysuckle 4-9, don't bother, there'll be someone who goes 4-6 on the morning or 4. There'll be some. I promise you that the long odds on shots won't be quite so long odds on at various times between now and the start of Cheltenham.
And I think that Supreme Novices, well, if Sir Gerhard lines up in there, I can see it being a 3-1 the field. I can see a few firms going 3 the field in that race.
Yeah, if they all turn up.
They all turn up. All the big guns are there.
I have just texted Richard Thompson, who of course is in charge of the Cheveley horses, about Sir Gerhard. And it just shows you that, I mean, he says no decision where he goes yet. We'll decide by midweek next week. It's 50-50.
Really?
So obviously non-runner, no bet at the moment, whatever. But you wouldn't want to be absolutely saying he's going one place or the other. The money today has come for the Supreme, suggesting someone at Willie Mullins' yard thinks it's the Supreme.
And listen to what Jamie said, who's ridden the horse, thinks he's a speed horse. You're thinking Supreme, aren't you, after what we've heard tonight?
Oh, yeah, I think so. But Willie just has so much ammo in the Supreme. You know, there'll always be a temptation to split if they can. Yeah. You know, you'd rather 2 winners than 1, ideally, obviously, but I don't know. I think he's a speed horse. OK. Novice Chase time.
It's a shorter price for the other race. It's just worth pointing out. If you're the owner of that horse, you can run in the Supreme against monsters.
5 weapons.
Or you can say to your trainer, well, Willie, we are really short in the other race. Do you not think maybe? I don't know. No. Do they look at the betting or do they just listen to God, who, of course, is Mullins?
We'll find out midweek then, next week, where Sir Gerhard goes. What about the Arkle? Edward Stone is the favourite for... Is this one for the home team? Perhaps, although the Irish Challenge, Blue Lord and Riviere de Tel, reading strong words from Jack Kennedy about that horse in the paper today. Hot on Couleur at 7-1, St Sam at 7s as well, third time lucky at 10s. Jamie, let's go to you first of all. Let's go to the Irish Challenge, Blue Lord and Riviere de Tel. Of course, no Fernie Holler, who would have been your main hope of winning this race, but 2 pretty strong candidates all the same.
Yeah, look at on the Leopardstown run. You know, they were ding dong down to the last. Riviere de Tel. I can't believe she made the mistake. That's her biggest asset, is her thumping. And I can't believe, but the way she battled back, you'd have to imagine she was going to pull out and probably just win. She'll have the mare's allowance, which is going to help her. So she has to have a big chance. You know, Blue Lord looks fairly uncomplicated. He jumps well. You know, he was going to be second in the Supreme last year, so it's the obvious target. I don't know what Edward Stone. He was a very, very ordinary hurdler. I don't know. Fences improved them, obviously, but have they improved them enough? I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, Alan King, I mean, he won this a couple of times. Going back a bit, though, My Way to Solzen and Voy por Ustedes, you're going back a long way for his other winners of the Arkle. But let's talk about the 5-year-olds. Kevin, is this a worry for you about the Arkle? Between 98 and 2006, 4 renewals were won by 5-year-olds. However, since the £5 age allowance was scrubbed 13 years ago, they are 0 from 13 in the race. Fakur Dudery went close 2 years ago. All Mankind beaten last year. So we've got 5-year-olds this time. Riviere de Tel, Hot on Couleur is a 5-year-old. St Sam. Do you think any of those can buck that trend?
Oh, I think they definitely could. I don't mind that. I think these horses are getting more precocious all the time. You know, they're being trained differently, they're being bred differently. You know, I wouldn't worry about that myself. If they're good enough, they'll go and win. I'm with Edward Stone, to be honest.
You are?
Yeah. Look,
that's an inspired selection. Thanks for that.
Well, just because, you know, I know it's automatically a surprise to me if I'm tipping an English horse in the Grade 1, Matt, but here we are.
Technically Scottish, of course, because Alan King is Scottish.
Well, we'll give it to Scotland, so. But, like, I don't think this is a vintage Arkle. Like, you know, Jamie said he wasn't the best hurdler. He wasn't the best hurdler, but he was the best of these. You know, I think he was rated 150 over hurdles. You know, despite that he ended up in kind of handicaps rather than the big races. But he's a really good jumper of a fence.
Yeah.
Like, he had a sticky start, but since then, this season, I think he's been really good. Like, he's efficient, he's clever, he's doing everything right. Look, Alan King hasn't spared him, he's given him plenty of racing, but he keeps doing it and arguably gets better. And I know some will point out, you know, I think he's 0 from 3 around Cheltenham, but he's run fine. You know, I think fences have been the making of him. So in what I don't think is a brilliant Arkle, I'd side with him.
Yeah, I mean, looking back, the likes of Shishkin obviously won this, Footpad, Alti or Duvan, you know, some champions, Matt, have won the Arkle in recent years. Perhaps it's not the strongest race, but where do you stand with Edwardstone, first of all? I mean, I like the horse. He finds a lot for pressure. I like him.
Yeah, he's I described him to Jamie Lynch the other day as he's more Kevin Darley than Jamie Spencer. You know, he's quite boring.
Fair enough.
He's quite boring, but he keeps getting the job done.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel about him. Like, even though he was stuffed by him, I really like Third Time Lucky. I still think he's the horse who's got the flair.
Yeah.
But I did message Skelton a few days ago, and he said he's very likely to miss Cheltenham and go to Aintree Third Time Lucky. So I don't think he'll be in this race. And that, I think, is quite important for a horse like Edwardstone, because it's a horse that you know has a few... I mean, Third Time Lucky is more Jamie Spencer than Kevin Darley, because... You think, I think Third Time Lucky is incredibly talented, but he messes it up a lot of times. Blue Lord's just the type of horse that goes to Cheltenham and is a completely different horse to the one we've seen over in Ireland. Like, some of these Mullins horses go to Cheltenham and they just go round on the snaff. But my gut feeling is that this is substandard and Edwardstone will just win because he's boring.
OK, I think all three of us are going for Edwardstone. Jamie, who's going to be your choice then? Which one are you going to go with?
I'm going to go for Course of Line.
Ah, OK. Bit of out left field. Then about a 14-1 chance at the moment for Henry de Bromhead. Horse who won at Goran, didn't he? Won easily last time.
Yeah, I thought he jumped well. This is a classy hurdler back in his kind of, you know, he was second in a Triumph. Looked like he might go on and take on Open Company, but fell a bit short. This horse is kind of, we thought he was going to deliver and be very, very good. He works like an absolute machine. But I just think maybe fences might just bring the best out of him. It's only an okay Arkle, and I kind of have a sneaky suspicion this horse could be the job now for this race.
Okay. Course Sublime then at a price for Jamie there for the Arkle, taking on the Team Edwardstone here for that race. Let's talk about the Turner's Novices Chase. This is the race over 2 mile and almost 4 furlongs, not quite 2.5 miles, but Bob Olinger, of course, who was obviously the God-given certainty last year from Jamie Codd when he won over hurdles. Let's start with Jamie then, Bob Olinger, but you're not convinced about him, I hear, this time around.
Yeah. I'm actually not. I think this horse, if he was, if Honeysuckle wasn't around, I think this horse would be going back for a champion hurdle.
Yeah.
I really do. I think he was, you know, just because Honeysuckle is there now, this horse goes chasing. He's not the best jumper I've ever seen. I think he lacks a little bit of scope. The first day in Goran, he popped away the finest, but he was a little bit awkward, in my opinion. And I thought the last day in Punchestown, I thought it was fine. I thought Rachel was good and positive on him, but it just wasn't natural. And you know, when you're going with a horse over fences like that, he only has had the 2 runs. Like, Cheltenham is a fair test on a horse. When you get to the top of the hill there, those last 3 fences, they're a good test of a horse. And I don't know. I think he's the best horse. I just don't know, is the jumping going to catch him out? OK. Galopin Deschamps, if he runs in this race, of course, he's still got the 2 entries, isn't he, as well, the 3 mile route. But would he be one you'd think would win it if he lined up in this race? Yeah, I love the way he jumps. I think his jumping is his main asset. Like, sure, look at the beginner chase was savage, great to look at, but he beat nothing, beat very little. But it just visually, it looked really good. I think the trip is really going to suit him. And I think if Bob Olinger makes a mistake, this horse will win. But if Bob Olinger jumps well, which is my biggest concern, then he wins. But if he doesn't, I think this horse will just win.
OK, Galopin des Champs, Jamie thinks, is the one then against Bob Olinger, who, of course, was his good thing last year. Kevin, how do you read this race?
I'm with Jamie on Bob Olinger in that, his jumping was better the second day, but if we didn't know all we knew about him as a hurdler, I don't think people would be nearly as excited. But at the same time, the one thing that's niggling at me with Bob Olinger is that he was very good going into Cheltenham last year, but he was absolutely brilliant at Cheltenham.
Yes.
And what was the difference? He got better ground. And you watch him move, like he's a particularly good mover, for a national hunt horse. And if he gets a sounder surface at Cheltenham, I'd be, very much reserving the possibility that he could lift his form up to back to that sort of brilliant level we saw last year. But look, it's all built into the price, isn't it? He's already even money odds on in places. Galopin des Champs has been brilliant, in fairness to him. He was very good the first day. His jumping wasn't as good the last day, but he still ripped apart a Novice Chase, with a bunch of Grade 1 winners in it, tore it apart. I think this is the right trip for him.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be good. He clearly stays. We saw him win a Grade 1 over 3 miles over hurdles, but the way he jumps, he's an aggressive jumper. I don't think Paul Townend will want to be getting into the sort of negotiations he'd have to over 3 miles with him. I think he just wants to let him flow.
Yeah.
I think that would suit him a lot better, and for that reason I favour him. But we better not make this a match, because Long Press is there. And he's looked very, very good. The depth of form isn't there that you have with Galopin des Champs, but he has looked very good, and I really wouldn't want to rule him out.
Yeah, Le Presse for Venetia Williams. Of course, I think he's third best in the market, of course, at the moment. Matt, how do you see the Turner's Novice Chase going?
Galopin des Champs for me. I just think he's a machine, and I think he's just going to grind them into submission. I like front runners at Cheltenham as well. Keep out of trouble in a race like this. I think Bob Olinger made the... But I'm interested, Coddy, if Sir Gerhard's got an arse like Beyonce, what's the arse of Galopin like?
I didn't see him. I was suspended at Christmas, Matt, so I didn't get to see him at Christmas. I was a bad boy with the whip. I didn't actually get to see him, so I'm actually very, very interested to see what he looks like in Cheltenham. I hear he's a big horse, a big imposing horse, and but I haven't actually seen him at first hand.
I think there's going to be a big crowd around the backside of Sir Gerhard, isn't there? Like every bloke at the track's going to be saying, "Have a look at that!"
What a thought. Right, shall we move on to the Brown Advisory Novices Chase, which is over 3 miles, the old RSL, the Sun Alliance Chase, to us of a certain vintage. But, of course, now sponsored by Brown Advisory, and it is a Grade 1 over the 3 miles. Now, of course, we think Galopin des Champs will go 2 mile 4 for the Turners. Likewise, Bob Olinger. Does that mean, Matt, that the path is open for Brave Man's Game to win this? You think he'd be better at shorter, don't you? Didn't you say you wanted to throw him in the Arkle almost?
I don't think he'd be disgraced if he went from the front in the Arkle. That's my opinion. People bring up the My Way to Solzen thing. That's a bit of a red herring, because My Way to Solzen shouldn't have won the Arkle.
Fallers, weren't they, down the hill with
Nichols,
Ruby and
Nichols'
AP, yeah.
Thing at the
was
top
it Twist
of
Magic?
Twist Magic fell and was absolutely cantering. Look, it was too far out to tell what would have happened, but I suspect Twist Magic would have won. He was a pretty good 2 miler at the end of the day, Twist Magic. But I suspect he'll win because it's winnable. Do you see what I mean? Like, I don't think it's the toughest 3 miler ever.
He's beaten the Hoist Senior before, isn't he?
I'm surprised Galopin des Champs not in this race, because I think he's all about stamina. But, I think Brave Man's Game should win. And that's as simple as that. Cheltenham has disappointed here before, but just seems to be such a natural chaser. Jumps for fun.
Yeah, I'd be in that car. I love this horse.
Yeah.
Like, this is the best jumping novice chaser we've seen all season. No dispute. He can do it all. He can be long, he can be short. He's really clever when he's short. And I love the way Paul Nicholls has campaigned him.
In that handicap last one was great, wasn't it?
He's been aggressive with him. He's put him in against good horses the whole way. And when he couldn't find good horses the last time, he stuck him in a handicap and gave weight away to lesser horses. And he's just at a level now that I think is, a level above what we've seen from the rest, in my opinion. I actually wouldn't disagree with Matt. I think he would be fine at shorter. I think you'd have the tool set
Say
for
that
it.
again, Kevin.
I always sound surprised when I say that, Matt, for good reason.
They've agreed at last.
But I do like this horse a lot now. And I'd actually, just on a kind of almost sentimental level, I'd love Paul Nicholls to win this race with him, just to reward him for the way he's campaigning them. Because if more trainers campaign good horses like that in the UK, I think we'd all get a better spectacle all year round.
Correct.
And he's been brilliant. He hasn't missed a beat, and I'm looking forward to seeing him at Cheltenham.
Just one of the bigger... I don't know if he'll run here. If Fury Road ran here, he's got a third behind Monkfish in the Albert Bartlett. Time Hill back and forth. He's one of those horses that you can't predict how he'll run for me, but he's just the kind of horse that if he decided to have a going day, I don't think he's devoid of ability.
Well, Gordon was talking about running him in a handicap.
Yeah, he probably will.
The handicapper's gone mad and given him a mark of 160.
Right.
So they might well go to Grade 1 route because, you know, the handicap he's entered in, he's rated £4 lower than Frodon. You know, to contextualise that, it just seems a mad rating. But, he beat Run Wild Fred very well at Leopardstown, bombed out the next day. The ability's there, but, will he show it?
You don't know, do you?
Yeah, but you'll get a big price for your trouble, I'd say.
OK, Fury Road then, at a fair old price. Let's bring Jamie Codd in show as well. I mean, Irish Challenge here doesn't look that strong, dare I say, Jamie. Anything lurking amongst the Irish in this race, you think?
Not really. I think it's Braveman's Game's race to lose. But I'm with Kevin. I actually love this horse. I love the way he jumps. I kind of disagree with him, though, about stepping back and trip. I think if he stepped back and trip, it would be a massive negative. I think this horse just has a very, very good cruising gear over 3 mile, but he does not pick up. It's just there. He levels off. I'd say he could gallop the same speed for 4 mile. But he does not have any quickening gear whatsoever. It's just relentless. And I think if they just pop out and make the run in here, I don't think he'd see another horse. I think he's made for him. Like, he's such a good jumper. Kempton the last day went down to the last. I think Harry went 1-2, come up, and the horse done a little dance on the board. It was just magic to see. He's just a natural, and I think this horse wins here. If you're looking for something, I think Vanillier won an Albert Bartlett by about 14 lengths last year. He was very, very impressive. I think the better ground will suit him. His form this year has been sketchy enough, but he's still an Albert Bartlett winner. They have an okayish record coming back to this race, and I think at a big price he'll run very, very well. Okay.
So we'll keep an eye on Vanillier as well. As you say, Cheltenham form for him. But I think we're all with Braveman's Game, aren't we, for that race there. Now, it's boost time. Let's see what our sponsors, Betfred, have come up with this time. There we go. They are the boosts. And American Mike's 3-1. Allaho 4-5. A Plus Tard for the Gold Cup 7-2. Edwardstone 9-4 for the Arkle. And the big one there, Constitution Hill, pushed out half a point, 11-4 for the Supreme. They are the 5 price boosts for our Cheltenham Festival sponsors. Now, don't forget to check out the At The Races website. There's the Cheltenham mega site on there. It's added to every day. Loads to have a look at on the site there. All the tips, the odds, the expert insight, all the stats and trends. Really good stats guide available there. All the runner profiles you need. So much to have a look at there on the Cheltenham Festival mega site. Should we have a look at the Close Brothers, which is the 4:10 race coming up on the Tuesday. Now, this is the Close Brothers Mares Hurdle, Grade 1 again, 2.5 miles this time. Tell Me Something Girl is the favourite for Henry de Bromhead at 11-4. Concertista went so close to winning last year at 4-1. Let's start with Kevin Blake this time. What do we think is going to happen in the Close Brothers Mares Hurdle, Kev?
Yeah, struggled a little bit here, Enzo. Don't think this is a vintage renewal. Tell Me Something Girl was really good in the
Ever been?
There has been. Benny the Jew and Honeysuckle.
Well, yeah. Funny enough, someone mentioned that earlier. Benny the Jew should have beaten Honeysuckle.
You should have, yeah. No, I agree.
This is just shocking stuff. It shouldn't be at the festival.
Well, look, that's a conversation for another day, and I might actually be in your camp on that one, Matt. But
again?
Forget we're getting a bit worried.
Next year. Hold on, what was that?
Oh, yeah, that was your
Hold
mic.
on.
What, your wallet, was it, Matt?
Oh,
Mots everywhere.
But, funny you should say that. Anyway, carry on talking about this ridiculously poor race.
You think the mayor should have to take on the boys? And
well, the problem is I really like Davy Russell, and he's steaming right now if he's watching, because he just loves the mares, because, of course, what does he do? he sells horses. And anyone who sells horses or trains horses or rides horses or owns horses thinks that these rubbish races are brilliant at Cheltenham. But any normal person realises that this stuff just shouldn't be anywhere near the Cheltenham Festival.
We've had a few good ones, with the Corvega, with the Apples Jade when she beat the two Mullins horses.
The Mayor's Hurdle was the reason we never got to see Corvega against big bucks.
Exactly.
Travesty.
Yeah.
But anyway, we digress. We digress. Tell me something, girl. I think Rachel gave her the right of the meeting to win the Mayor's Novice last season. I thought she was brilliant at it. And you just get the impression that Henry has spent this season just building her and because the trip would be a small question mark, coming into this season. And, he's got her lovely and settled. She finished off very well the last day at Leopardstown, was giving weight away. She was the best horse of the weights. And I think that form makes her the one. And just with Henry's, we haven't mentioned it yet, but, Henry's had a very wishy-washy kind of December, January, February, but you just get the impression they're starting to come around and click and build. And it just might come just in time for him. And he has a strong team. And, she's a leading chance for him, I think. Isn't your superstar, Mrs Milner, got an entry for this race? You're not going to... No, she's been a little bit disappointing since. She did really well to win that Pertemps final. She did. She got knocked over turning in. But it was a handicap off a mark in the 130s. Whereas Tell Me Something Girl, these are a bunch of 145 mares, I think. Yeah. But I think Tell Me Something Girl can potentially, she's building to a career best now. And if she produced one, it'll probably be enough to win, OK, thanks, Kevin. I've got to scroll down a long way to find a British trained runner in this. It looks like it's going to go to Ireland. Jamie, what do you like in the Close Brothers Mares Hurdle?
I agree with the lads there. It's not a savage race. I'd say Kahala will probably go for the Stayers Hurdle as well. She seems like she won at Gorn the last day over 3 mile, and I'd say the Stayers is probably where connections are probably keen to go to step up to that 3 mile. So you take her out of it as well. Dennis O'Regan got off Queensbrook the other day. In my opinion, Dennis O'Regan is one of the best judges that will ever sit on a racehorse. He is so sharp. When he says something, I'd listen. And he rode Queensbrook. And if you go back through form with Fernie Hollow Appreciated in a champion bumper, she's third. Although she's third, getting tired, it's still very, very good form. She got lost last year, but she's back. She's in good form. I thought her run the last day in Punchestown was quite good. She's staying going behind Burning Ambition or Burning Victory. And I kind of think this one at a bit of she's each way value. What is she? She's only
8 to 1 Queensbrook. Yeah.
She's a great chance of being in the money.
Quick shout for Indefatigable, who has been poor of late. Started off the season in great style at Wetherby, but is a Martin Pipe winner, was 4th in this race last year, and I won't go into it all now, but I'm in the middle of writing something for the weekend about horses that come back to the Cheltenham Festival. Yep. And she would absolutely fit into the category of a horse that can be relatively pants in between Cheltenham Festivals, but then when it comes to the Cheltenham Festival seems to just completely come to life. And if she ran again in this, which I presume she will, she was 4th last year, she'll be quite high double-digit odds now. After
33s.
She was terrible at Warwick last time, but I just ignore that because in her back form, quite recent back form, there's ability there. Yeah.
OK, we'll see what happens with the Close Brothers Mares Hurdle. The National Hunt Chase takes place on the Tuesday at 5:30. Market dominated this race for amateur riders by Run Wild Fred and Statler, 11 to 4 and 3 to 1, that sort of price. Vanillier's got an entry in this race as well. Let's go to Jamie first of all. Do you know what you're going to be riding in this race first of all?
I don't know. Gordon has Run Wild Fred and Brayside here. So I don't really know what the story is at the minute.
Which one do you want to ride?
I suppose you'd like to ride Run Wild Fred. I don't know will I ride him, but I would like to ride him. He's been quite progressive this year. You'd imagine the trip is going to suit him. The better ground will definitely suit him. He was very impressive in the Troytown. Yeah, so he's a horse. He was second at Christmas in a Grade 1. So, he's a horse that you'd think would suit the race. He's a world of experience. He's a handicapper coming back into a novice chase as such. So he's kind of fits the bill for this race.
Okay, Run Wild Fred, the one you want to ride in the race. Let's bring Kevin Blake in. Statler, where do you stand with him?
Look, clearly a very good novice. You know, it would be worth his place in the Brown Advisory. I'd say, and he probably would be if Patrick was in there pulling strings to try and get a good ride in the National Hunt Chase. But Patrick might have a job now because he's just he's a slightly more aggressive jumper than you'd like for this type of race generally. So it's going to be on Patrick, I think. You know, how this horse performs is going to come down to how good a job Patrick does in getting him relaxed and into a jumping rhythm. Whereas you wouldn't really have such worries with Run Wild Fred, who, you know, been there and done it. You know, second season chaser, loads of experience. You know, should have won an Irish National last year if he jumped the last two anyway fluently.
You think he's a bit of a dodge? I think he's a bit of a dodge.
His jumping concerns me at times because it's perfectly good most of the time, but he just can't drop an odd clanger, and he did last time with Leopardstown. He landed on top of one down the back. But
one of the producers says we're over time here. He's going mad in my ear. He says, hurry up, hurry up.
One Run Wild Fred is the one I like.
Okay. Yeah. Matt, selection for this race?
I haven't got a strong opinion on it. I mean, Fury Road, funny enough, is in here. He's another. Yeah. I don't like Run Wild Fred as a horse. I think he's a bit of a dodge pot, to be honest. 3 under 3-5 runs for Nichols. The horse hasn't done an awful lot wrong.
Yeah. Won 4 or 5 on the bounce, isn't he? It's free bet giveaway time. This is our second free bet giveaway. We're giving away a £20 free bet courtesy of tonight's sponsors of our Cheltenham Festival preview, Betfred. Simply comment your strongest fancy of the meeting once again and the word win wherever you're watching, whether you're watching on attheraces.com, on YouTube or on Facebook. Just your strongest fancy plus the word win, and you've got a chance to win another £20 free bet courtesy of Betfred. Let's talk about the champion bumper, shall we? Now, 2 horses absolutely dominate the betting here. Facile Vega, who hacked up at Leopardstown last time, and American Mike, who looked very special before that. Let's talk American Mike, shall we? Let's bring in Jamie Codd. This horse looked very, very special, of course. He got his 2 wins in, didn't he, before we saw Facile Vega win. But, Jamie, you rode him to both those wins. How impressed were you by American Mike?
I think it's pretty... Like, everyone kind of knows where I kind of stand with this horse. Like, he's the best horse. He's the best bumper horse we have this year. He fits the bill for this race, and he's going to run here. Like, all going well, he's going to run. And look, Willie has brought out some good-looking horses, but as I said before, I would not swap this horse. If he had went to Leopardstown and got beaten by Facile Vega, then absolutely the dream is over. But at the minute, I'll be 100% stand behind this horse. And when he gets beat, I'll probably still stand behind him, because I think going forward, he's going to be very, very good.
OK, strong words then from Jamie, the man who knows the horse well, American Mike. Kevin Blake, are you in his camp?
I am, only narrowly. Look, 2 proper horses up the top of the market. You know, really impressive. But American Mike, you know, Gordon has had him in mind as the champion bumper horse seemingly from very early days, you know, for a man with so much ammunition. That says plenty. And look, just on the clock, everything else, he's really ticked the boxes. And look, so has Facile Vega, but...
I was interested, when Patrick Mullins won on Facile Vega, he said there wasn't much between Facile Vega and Redemption Day at home. He said, you know, there wouldn't be much between them.
Yeah, you get that impression. Maybe even more than those 2. There might be a couple of more that might not be far away. Whereas you get the impression with American Mike that he's the clear leader of Gordon's bunch. So, you know, read into that what you will. But look, the prices are what they are.
11 to 10 and 11 to 4.
Yeah.
So you'd be swinging towards American
Mike. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Matt, bumper thoughts?
I don't know if he's going to run, but I was quite impressed with Top Dog for Emma Lavelle at Newbury last time. Prior to that, had run at good tracks. Obviously came from Ireland initially, then went to Cheltenham, went to Ascot, was placed there, and then won at Newbury. So it's always been a Grade 1 tracks all the way through. I've no idea if Top Dog's going to run, but if he did...
Tipping non-runners, man.
Well, I don't know. Whereas you know we're conflated he's not going to run. With this boy, I don't know.
Do we have any chance of the bumper? What was the last one we won the bumper? Was it Ballyandy, possibly?
Was it?
Yeah, Ballyandy won, didn't he? I'm sure he won it. Going back a bit. I think I'm looking...
Q-Card?
God.
Yeah, Q-Card.
Since then, that was like 12 years ago.
We just never win it, do we? The bumper.
No.
So it does. I mean, the market's saying it's a match between those. So I wanted to take on Facile Vega. I thought even money was a little bit short, but obviously you can't disrespect Willie Mullins.
Ballyandy, 2016.
Yeah. Oh, there we go.
The old Cheltenham stats backs, obviously.
Stats backed up.
Obviously came through to your computer, Enzo. Well done.
Let's. We know where Jamie's going in this race. He's very much with America Much. Shall we have a look at these boosts once again? To remind you, these are the 5 boosts that our sponsors have come up with. They've tried to push these horses out. And if you wish to, of course, you can take advantage of those. Full terms and conditions do apply, and do be gambleaware.org. Constitution Hill Supreme for Michael Buckley, Nicky Henderson, 11-4. Edwardstone for the Arkle, 9-4 for Alan King, if you fancy him. American Mike, 3-1. That'll attract Jamie and Kevin, certainly. Allaho for the Ryanair, 4-5, looks quite juicy there. And Aplutard, beaten in the Gold Cup last year. So impressive, wasn't he, in the Betfred Chase early at Haydock in the season. He's 7-2 on the price boost there with our sponsors, Betfred. Should we talk Triumph Hurdle? Another race we're going to have a look at right now. And we'll get the lads' thoughts on this race as well. Always a race that has a lot of anticipation. Now, these two have met before, haven't they, at the top? Kevin Blake, Vauban and Pied Piper. Is there that much between them? The market suggests they're pretty closely matched.
Yeah, look, if you listen to Willie Mullins, Vauban will definitely reverse it because he wasn't half ready when they met and there was very little between them. They've both come out and won very well in stronger company since. I give Phil Dore a chance of reversing it with Vauban. He finished second to him at Leopardstown and I just feel that was a mess of a race at Leopardstown. They crawled around. Phil Dore, Gordon will tell you he's a 3-miler in the making. Whereas Vauban is a real speed horse. I wasn't in love with Vauban's jumping. He was out to his right most of the way. I just think at Cheltenham, assuming they go a proper gallop, I wouldn't be surprised if Phil Dore could certainly close the gap significantly and maybe reverse it. So at the prices, I'd be with Phil Dore. OK, Fedor for Kevin. Matt, you disagree, I think?
No, I agree.
You think so? You like Fedor as well?
That's why I'm so upset. Yeah. Look. The problem with Phil Dore is he really wants this to be the old-style Triumph Hurdle. And the problem is there's an age group watching this show right now who will be thinking of the Triumph Hurdle in a completely different way to what it is now. Because it's not the days of Ictam and Oh So Risky and all those horses where you've got 25, 30 runners, strong gallop. Now it's like a pootling conditions race where they poot around. But if they do go a good pace, I do think Phil Dore is much, much better than that Vauban run suggests.
OK.
And an each-way bet, I'm happy to go with.
Do the Brits have any chance? I mean, you and I were at Kempton on Saturday. We saw Knight Salute win. He's been a great success story, isn't he? But is he just not quite good enough, do you think?
Yeah. I think he does hold back something for himself, but I don't think he's good enough. Of the British horses, I think Porticello's the one with the most natural ability. I think he's pretty good, but I think Phil Dore's a good each-way bet. 2 votes for Fedor. Let's see what Jamie Codd likes in the Triumph Hurdle. Jamie?
I'm a massive Pied Piper fan.
Good horse in the flat, wasn't he? But he's really taken to hurdling.
Yeah, he's look, Willie Mullins can make every excuse he wants. He still beat him in Punchestown, and I thought what he did in Cheltenham the last day. I think the race is going to suit him. I think he's improving. Went work the other day, and this is a classy horse. He's loads of class about him, and Phil Dore is a very good horse, but he's definitely more workmanlike. But if this lad gets to the kind of 20 or 30 yards before the last on the bridle, he'll win. OK. So you're putting Pied Piper well ahead of Fedor then for this race, on what you know? I think he's a classier horse. Pied Piper might go on, maybe jump a fence or be better, but this lad at the minute, I would feel, would be a classier horse. OK. Strong words for Pied Piper from Jamie then. The Gordon Elliott team with a strong hand in that up against Vauban. Nobody likes Vauban for the JCB. Right, let's talk handicaps. This was your special subject, wasn't it, last season? What do you like in the handicaps? There's a few that have caught your eye, I think. Yeah, there's a few. I'm going to start off in the Coral Cup. The Coral Cup. Drop the anchor? Yes, dropped the anchor. Pat Fahey. Look, the Irish horses have been absolutely shafted, I think, by the ratings in the main. But this fella has managed to slip a little bit. He's only £2 higher than his Irish rating, which is a good result. I think the average is 4.9 pounds of a differential. So he's right down at the very bottom of the list. But it's not just because of that. I really like him anyway. He won a Ladbrokes Hurdle at the Dublin Racing Festival a couple of years ago, ran at the County Hurdle last year and was running a stormer. He was right up sides the winner, Belfast Banter, and he got absolutely murdered 2 out and stayed on really well. He's been looking for some time that he wants to step up to a mid-range trip. They've taken their time in doing that.
and in a Labrooks hurdle again at the Dublin Racing Festival last time. Watch it back, like massive eye catcher. He was completely outpaced 3 out. He's going to be tailed off, and he's passed literally 10 horses up the run in to finish 5th. You know, he's crying out for a trip like this, 2 mile 5. He ran well enough in the county off a £3 higher mark to suggest that he's, you know, handicapped off that type of mark to go and win one. So I was definitely wanted him on my side. And the other main one is the Pertemps final. Winter Fog for Emmett Mullins. Okay. Now, he's one that the British handicapper has had a right cut at. He's given him £7 higher than his Irish rating, but he's one with a profile that he could just be really well handicapped. Emmett picked him up from Daniel Murphy. He's shown promise for him. He was very well backed in the qualifier, and I feel he should have won. He got there a week and a half too soon. He was in front early in the straight, and he just got run down late on. I think they would have learned plenty about him there. They'll ride him quieter. And I just feel, you know, Emmett has done really well with this type of horse before. You know, the Shunter being the obvious example. Yeah. Horse he picked up off another trainer, and he took off. I feel there could be a good bit more to come from him. They're both around the 12 to 1 shot. 12 to 1 sort of range. Yep. And one more, Kim Muir, Henry de Bromhead, Ain't That a Shame. Really interesting horse. Again, another one that the handicapper has given a right slabber of a rise. But he's one that just could be better than a Kim Muir horse, as in better than a 145 horse. I thought he ran really, really well last time. Again, he should have won. The race won 3 out, but got there too soon. Champagne Platinum ran him down late on. Champagne Platinum came out and boosted the form by running a really good second in the Grand National Trial. And I just feel a race like the Kim Muir, he's never had anything like it before. Big field, loads of pace. We'll be able to ride him with confidence. He's only had 3 runs over fences. You know, I think there's the potential for him to be quite a nice horse still. Okay. And I have an exclusive for the At the Races Cheltenham Preview. I gave Henry de Bromhead a bell this morning to see was there a rider booked, and Ben Harvey is booked, and promising young point-to-point rider. Jamie will know him well. He's actually unbeaten in England. He's had 2 rides in England, including one at Cheltenham. He's won on both of them. He rode Bob Olinger to win his point-to-point.
This horse carries the same colours, isn't he?
Yes, and he'll be more than capable. If Ain't That a Shame
as exclusives go, that has blown the internet apart. I mean, all over Twitter now. That exclusive is going crazy. Thanks.
When he wins, you'll know where you heard it first.
Right, I've written those down. So Kevin Blake's handicap picks: Drop the Anchor Coral Cup, 12 to 1. Winter Fog Pertemps, about 12. Yes, and Ain't That a Shame of the Kim Muir. Right, I've written down those 3. Right, let's go to Jamie Codd. Anything for the handicaps? Take it away, Jamie Codd.
I kind of had one horse that I thought, I have 2 horses that I thought might be ones to keep on side. I thought Death Duty if he runs in the Ultima. I think he's kind of well in still. He was a graded horse in his younger days, came back. I thought his win in the Grand National Trial of Punchestown was quite good, and I think he's really coming to himself now, and I think he's well in the Ultima. And Good Time Johnny, Tony Martin's Coral Cup.
Taking on
Tony
Drop the Anchor. Tony Martin, there we go. Good Time Johnny and Death Duty for Jamie. Just making a note of those.
And Death Duty is the only Irish horse entered in the handicap at Cheltenham. They got a lower mark than they have in Ireland, the only one.
Yeah, I was reading about that. He does look the pick, doesn't he, for the weights for the handicaps from Ireland. Matt, anything caught your eye in the handicaps?
Well, I'll go against Kevin in the Coral Cup with a Tristan Davies horse, Gowl Road. Now, he beat Unexpected Party 3 runs back. He gave Unexpected Party a stone. Now, because Unexpected Party has done well since, only has to give him £3. So, while Unexpected Party has clearly improved, Gowl Road's won twice since he's been beaten, but they were over the wrong trip. He's only ever raced once at the Coral Cup trip, and he's unbeaten at that trip. And I just thought that, you know, in those handicaps, when you are looking for a British winner occasionally, Tristan Davies, the kind of one who might just pull something out the bag. And, you know, he is really well handicapped with Unexpected Party on that one bit of form. And I checked with Sam Twiston the other day, and he said the horse would run. And I thought Chemical Energy was interesting in the Martin Pipe. If that goes, I always look for Gordon Elliott in the Martin Pipe, because basically Martin Pipe trained Gordon Elliott. And now I always think Gordy in that race. I like to find a Gordon Elliott horse.
Yeah, but there's a problem.
He's not running?
No, the English are going to win the Martin Pipe.
Really?
Langer Dan.
Oh, of course, yeah. He went close last. Was it Galopin Des Champs beating
He
last
was second to Galopin Des Champs in this race
Travelled
last
like
year.
a travelly thing, as Matt would say, all the way through. Then he came there cruising.
Off a mark of 140.
Yeah.
Galopin Des Champs come and beat him, a Grade 1 horse, chucked in, a mile clear of the third.
Right.
Not worried about his comeback run. Was it Taunton?
He lost at 6.
He went up £5. If he'd run off 145 here, he still would have gone off Fav. He's run last week, had a run,
Just a prep
beaten
run.
10 lengths, and the handicapper's gone and dropped him £3.
When you say had a run, Kevin, can you explain what that means to our viewers?
I think Timeform called it surely a pipe opener with a view to Cheltenham.
Pipe opener.
A pipe opener for the
Cheltenham.
Martin Pipe?
Yeah. And
literally a pipe.
I just feel that is the most lenient piece of handicapping I've ever seen in my life. He's
about 5-1, is he now, Langer Dan? So
yeah, because he was the big mover in the markets after the weights came out.
Yeah.
Like the handicapper's done his best to give this race to Langer Dan.
So Langer
we'll see
Dan
how
and
he
Death
gets on.
Duty are probably the best handicapped horses in the handicaps then.
I get stick for talking too much, talking over people, all this thing.
We've done well tonight.
My missus has just messaged me on WhatsApp and says, "Oh my God, you're still talking."
We're nearly done.
She has to put up with you all the time.
Let's go to Jamie. Right, we need the final selections. We need the nap, an each way shout, and the lay. Let's go to Jamie Codd first of all. What's your 3 here in this spot?
My nap, Shishkin. I'd like to see this horse win. He's done nothing wrong. He's been to Cheltenham twice. He's won twice, and I think he'll win the 3rd time. Bob Olinger.
No loyalty, laying Bob Olinger. No loyalty there.
God-given cert.
It's actually breaking my heart to do it because I think he is a very, very good horse. But I just his jumping. I'm just sure if his jumping is going to hold up to Galopin Des Champs. So that's why I'm going to lay him. And I think Tia Papu has an outstanding chance in the Champion Hurdle each way just to be second to the mare.
OK, Tia Poop, each way in the Champion, laying Bob Olinger, napping Shishkin against the Mullins battalions there. Kevin Blake, the same question to you, your nap, lay and each way. There we go.
Yeah, you see
napping Winter Fog.
Yeah, you see the nap and the each way there. I could have interchanged those. I wanted to go for ones at decent prices. They're both about 12 to 1. I wouldn't have a whole lot between them in my mind, but I had to pick one, and that's what I went with for reasons given. I think they both have strong cases to be made that they could be a nice bit better than their mark in the conditions they're going to meet at Cheltenham. So I was keen on the 2 of them. The lay, I'm regretting not putting in Shishkin, I think. I was over and Mac between Shishkin and Vauban. Just at the price with Shishkin. He's got 2 proper ones against him. 2
proper Gordon Elliott ones against him.
And he's just short. I think
Shishkin,
he's just short. And Vauban, I just feel... the way the race was run at Leopardstown really accentuated his strengths, whereas Cheltenham, it just could be a little bit different. He jumps out to his right. That'll be punished a little bit more. Look, he could be very, very good. Willie Mullen seems to have a huge regard for him. But I think the closer we get, the shorter he's going to get. And sure, look, I'll take him on. OK, Matt, same to you. Nap, lay and each way, please.
Well, the nap was easy because it's already won. It is, of course, Shishkin. No price now, but... You asked me for a nap, so I came up with one. The lay, if you don't stay, you don't win the Gold Cup. A Plutard doesn't stay. And I will go with Gow Road in the Coral Cup. And if Sam Twiston lets me down, I will be very upset.
Okay. I was hoping we'd run out of time before mine, but we have got time very quickly. The most important 3. Here we go. I think Edward Stone is going to win the Arkle. It's a great race for favourites. Alan King is going to get another Arkle winner, his 3rd, hopefully. I'm laying Facile Vega. More confident now after what Jamie said about American Mike. I think it's too short at even money. I'm rating the King George winner. Nobody's talking up Tornado Flyer. I think he's got a chance each way in the Gold Cup, which is wide open this year. No sniggering allowed.
We got a snigger. You know what's going to happen now. Let's get on Tornado Flyer. When Matt Chapman sniggers at someone's selection, absolute good thing.
Right, we've also got charity bets, very kindly donated by sponsors as well. So that £50 charity bets.
Yeah, I wanted to do a double on my 2 handicap selections, but I had to pick one, and I went for Winter Fog.
Winter Fog is your charity bet, Matt? Charity bet?
Multiples?
No, not allowed. It's got to be a single. Got to be a win single.
I will have 50 quid on...
You were asked for this days ago, man.
Oh, it's just the odds. It's just charity. There's no point in going short. You just need a big price. I have 50 quid on Album Photo.
Wow, for the Gold Cup. There we go. Jamie Codd, what's going to be your bet for charity courtesy of Betfred?
My man Mike, American Mike, all the way.
American Mike. There we go. He's gone with the American Mike. I've got Edwardstone. I think he is the one.
How grateful your charity is with about 80 quid. Tim.
I wanted a double Allaho and Shishkin.
You have to buy them a few napkins.
A few napkins is better than none.
And Enzo, our clock is counting down, but I think it would only be appropriate that Matt, he's got so much gear around his neck.
How many stars have we got on?
I think we have to add to it.
There we go.
I think it's suits it, man.
It won't be 23.5 again.
Whole of Ireland are now up in arms.
It suits you. I love it. I love all the colours going on.
Too. Thank you, Kevin.
Got to thank the panel. First of all, Jamie, many thanks for giving us so much time tonight. Great stuff as ever. Let's hope there's another LeBake in there somewhere. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. Thanks very much.
And get that ride as well on the horse you want to ride in the National Hunt Chase.
Run Wild Fred.
Run Wild Fred.
The name you're looking for.
Run Wild Fred. Have a word and get that right. Thanks for your time tonight. Kevin, many thanks. I know you're flying back tomorrow. Thank you so much for coming in person.
Oh, pleasure hanging out with Matt Chapman. Sure, look, I'd pay money for it.
You would. I thought it was risky putting you two together so close, but it's
been a bit dull, to be honest. Most of the time, he's just agreed with me.
I know. We've got for an easy night. Matt, many thanks as well for your time tonight.
Always
fantastic,
good,
great stuff.
Very good host.
Yeah, I'm off to go and change this jumper. Many thanks for your time, lads. Thank you to you as well. Thank you to you all for watching, whether you're watching on YouTube, on Facebook, or on attheraces.com. Thanks as well to our sponsors, of course, Betfred, for putting forward those charity bets. Have a great Cheltenham. That's it for the At The Races Cheltenham Festival Preview.